Welcome back to the Author's Edge, where we are helping you be your very best marketer because somebody has to. And also, you're busy doing what you do, what you're an expert in, and writing your books and speaking. Nobody has time to become an expert in marketing, too. That's why I'm here, your publishing Sherpa. And I'm Allison Lane, if we haven't met. If you're an OG, I appreciate you. Do me a solid. Make sure that you bookmark this. If you know me at all, you know that I've been talking about this author and this book for a year and a half since I saw her speak. Today's guest is all about getting people to take action. Nancy Harhut is a global expert in blending behavioral science with marketing, helping us tap into decision making shortcuts that honestly we all need because nobody has time to wring hands and mull things over. I love it when there's just a shortcut and I can get something, understand somebody's point, and take action. Her specialty is blending that creative with decision science, which is a new term to me, and to prompt a response to help people get to their action faster, whatever their action tends to be. So she's spoken around the world from South by Southwest to Sydney and all the places in between. I met her in Portland, Maine. As it happens, I'm excited to introduce you to Nancy. Welcome to the show. Nancy, thank you so much for being here and for taking time from your whirlwind, speaking everywhere, helping every marketer in the world be better and more succinct and clearer. I feel like when people hear marketing, they raise an eyebrow because marketing gets a bad rap. But productive marketing is clear and easy because nobody has time to sift through all the pretty words in order to get to can you give me what I want? So when we get started, let's just get started with a definition of your expertise because when I saw you speak at the Agents of Change conference, which our mutual friend Rich Brooks runs,
Yes, awesome conference.
and
Yes.
he'll be on the podcast in a couple weeks. I filled up a notebook with all the things, and it's the only notebook portion that I kept from then, and that was a couple years ago. And since then, I've been sharing your book, which is using behavioral science in marketing. And then the subtitle is Drive Customer Action and Loyalty by Prompting Instinctive Responses. And I think that is the important part is that we want to drive people to action and make it easy for them. But let's back up. And if you could just explain what behavioral science is and why we should be listening to you about it.
Sure. Great question. Sometimes people hear science and like their eyes roll back in their head, like,
They're
oh my
like,
gosh, like
yeah,
I'm an author, I'm a creative person. Science, that's test tubes and lab coats, and that's not me. And the truth of the matter is, behavioral science is just very simply, it's the study of how people behave. And more specifically, it's of why we do what we do. And when you think about it, all of us have someone that we want to do something. Maybe we want readers to buy our books. Maybe we want our spouse to take out the trash. Maybe we want our kids to get dressed. Maybe we want our clients to buy our products and services. We all have someone we want something from. So we want to influence somebody's behavior. And behavioral scientists have found that very often people don't make well thought out, well considered, deliberate decisions. What we do often, not always, but often, is we cruise along on autopilot and we just kind of rely on these decision defaults that humans have developed over the ages. And so if marketers, right, if we can get out ahead of that, if we are aware of these decision defaults, we can use them to mutual advantage. We can use them to our advantage and to our audience's advantage. Because if we know that somebody is likely to say X if we say Y, and we want them to say X, then let's make sure we say Y in our marketing materials. So it's just an easy way to increase the likelihood that people will pay attention to our marketing messages and that they will engage with them and respond to them. So behavioral science sounds maybe daunting, but it's just very simply the study of how people behave, why they do what they do, and my book is and how to get them to do more of what we want them to do.
No kidding. Now, for those of you out there thinking, I don't consider myself a marketer and I want to be direct and clear, we're talking about being direct and clear. And let me give you an example that I learned from our kid's pediatrician, which is this: would you like green beans or broccoli to go with your chicken nuggets? I'm giving two choices. I'm not saying, do you want a vegetable? Because I'm helping a toddler who's now 16 and a half and driving himself to school. I was helping him go, oh, there are two choices. I didn't give him six choices and I didn't ask an open ended question because then he never would have gotten to the answer. When I would share the what's for dinner or have to answer that what's for dinner, do you want green beans or broccoli with your chicken nuggets, was what I would ask. And also, when you're teaching your child to do something, you want to use the words of what you want them to do. The whole like, don't run, don't hit your sister. What they hear is hit your sister, don't pull the dog's tail. And that's not, you want to start with what they want so that they can actually hear it and take action on it. I always thought that was so interesting, but I think that it works still.
Yeah. I think it is interesting, and I read something about this once, and I think the thinking behind it is pull the dog's tail. Well, we can create a mental picture of pulling a dog's tail. We can envision a dog and its tail and our hand yanking on the tail. But the word don't, what's the mental image for the word don't? There's no like the international no sign, I guess, right? There's no,
Yeah.
so it's hard to envision no, yeah, or no. Like when I say no, like to you, dog, lima beans, broccoli, like you picture, right? But no, but there's not a picture for it. And so what happens is what we do see is everything that comes after that word. So I think the pediatrician was very smart saying, instead of saying don't hit your sister, you say be nice to your sister. Treat your sister nicely, share your toys with your sister, help your sister when she falls down. You would like positive things that you want the child to do, but also things that they can envision themselves doing. And I think with don't is it's hard for us to mentally create that picture. And so we focus on everything that comes after the word.
Yeah. Okay, so now we know what behavioral science is. And based on that, I think that marketers, or even if you don't consider yourself a marketer, if you work for someone else, you are always marketing your work. You are presenting your actions and accomplishments to your boss who controls how much money you make. And you are, instead of asking for a raise, you're presenting what you did drove company productivity or revenue or profit or whatever. So, whatever your world is, whether you're an author and you're trying to sell your book, or you're a speaker and you're putting together your one sheet, or most often, I see people want to branch out when they reach a certain point in their career and they're thinking of what's going to be my encore career. I've done X for 25 years and now I'm going to pivot and do this other thing. Now they have to build a website. What's a mistake that you see people make when they have to start creating content, whether they're speaking or website language or email marketing?
That's a great question. There are lots of mistakes that we all make because we're human, right? And there are lots of mistakes that people make when they first start marketing and advertising because that's, they studied. They're a really good author or they're a really good chef or they're a really good, accountant. But suddenly it's like, well, I have to let people know that I need to get my word out about my business, right? Or accomplishments. And so I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we talk about ourselves. right? Talk about our product or our service,
Yeah.
and it comes from a good place. We talk about our companies or our brands or our products, our service, our book, whatever it is, because we think they're good. That's why we're talking about them, on and on. But what we need to do is we need to think about who our audience is and what they want to hear. And a lot of times they're looking for something very specific. They want a answer or a solution to their problems or an idea or some information that they're trying to access. And we need to think about things from the perspective of our audience, right? So say, you should really buy my book. My book is, really good. I spent a long time writing it. I have lots of experience and I've put all that experience in there. And you're hearing is like, this might be dated, but back in the Charlie Brown, rah, 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 rah,
Wah, wah,
you
wah, wah,
know,
wah,
it's
wah.
like
Yeah.
people gloss over we, our, my, because we're more interested in ourselves than in anyone else. So when I say I'm not talking about you, Allison. I'm talking about me, Nancy. But if I say you, of using Allison, you is a substitute for Allison, right? So you pay attention when you see the word you. When we're listening, zero in on that. When we're reading, we're skimming and scanning, but certain words jump out at us. I, me, our, those aren't words that jump out at us. You will jump out at us, right? Because we're more interested in ourselves than in anyone else. So when we're talking about is we're selling, whether we're selling our book or our ability as a speaker, or maybe we're going to do training, or we've created a website for whatever it is that we want to think about what is it that our audience is going to want to find out. Trying to sell myself as a speaker, I got to think about, well, what is the conference looking for? And how do I position myself to fill that need? So instead of just going on and on about myself, I need to think about, gee, you've got this conference coming up and it's about marketing and it's the fifth time you've run the conference. So you're looking for a new angle. I can speak about behavioral science. Not a lot of people are speaking about that. To, hey, you're running a conference. Well, I speak at lots of conferences. I can speak for 30 minutes or I can speak for 60 minutes. Not all about me. It's about, your audience and what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And then we kind of position ourselves as the way for them to accomplish what your goal is.
Yes. When they turn it on themselves, I think that people think it's going to be so simple to write their bio. But your bio, your website isn't ever about you. And that means that unfortunately, people aren't going to, they're actually not interested in reading all of your credentials, which you earned and still exist. But that's not why people hire you or they buy your book or they want you to come speak. They assume that you are going to deliver the goods, and then they're delighted when they find out how credentialed you are. But very seldom do I meet someone who says, I know I want to work with you, but tell me your background. They do not care, people. They do not. And I think coming to age professionally, you think you have to point to your past accomplishments, but it's not true. Because the only person who sees that is, again, your one boss who's tracking your professional development, but nobody else is doing that. And it certainly gets in the way. Now, I've heard you say that decision making shortcuts are really powerful. And I saw a bunch, again, in your book that I have marked up so many times and written notes at the bottom to myself of this is what I'm going to do, and even drafted my own language of how to use don't miss out, like that kind of, but filling in the blank of don't miss the chance to capitalize on the credibility you have today, which is speaking to, from my point of view, when people say, oh, I want to write my book, I'm going to retire soon, and then I'm going to write my book since I'm an expert in this space. And I'm like, oh my God, once you retire, nobody cares. Don't miss out because you have credibility today. You're big poo today. But as soon as you say, I'm retiring, that equals I'm out of the game. I'm no longer on the bleeding edge. So nobody wants your 15 lessons that you've learned over 30 years. They want to know what can they apply today.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's what I was really gave my, I was pouring through this and I loved it.
Well, I think you're touching on a couple of things there. One thing is novelty. So you're saying like, look, well, the iron is hot. Like when you're doing something now, people are interested in you because it's new and it's fresh and you're in the moment. And you say, well, years ago when I was working at XYZ, these are the lessons I learned. That's old news. And we're not interested in old news. The human brain is hardwired for news and novelty. And the reason is when we find something that we think is new, it activates the pleasure center or the reward center in our brain, and that releases dopamine, which among other things is a feel good chemical. So essentially when we think we found something new, we get this, rush of
Yeah.
chemicals that make us feel good. And so we're constantly looking for that next rush of chemicals, right? That next
Yeah.
high that we're looking for that next new thing because what fuels it. So if you're hot right now, if you're, that people know, or if you've got a position that's important, or, got a perspective on a topic that's really timely, like you said, now is the time to do it. Don't wait, because if you wait, it's not news anymore and people aren't going to be as interested. Just the saying like, miss your chance. There's something called loss aversion. And it's this idea that people are actually twice as motivated to avoid the pain of loss as they are to achieve the pleasure of gain. So sometimes framing things in terms of what they're going to miss out on is actually more motivating than framing things in terms of what they can gain. So if you write the book now, get lots of readers and you'll sell more books. All right, that's a great. Those are two great reasons. But if you flip it and say if you fail to write the book now and you hold off until later, you won't get as many readers. You won't sell as many books. You're going to lose out on your audience and on the economic opportunity. That's even more motivating because people are twice as motivated to avoid the pain of loss as they are to achieve the pleasure of gain. And when I say that, I always hasten to add that, I'm not saying to walk away from benefits. I'm not saying we should be, I'm not saying we should be negative Nancy. But a little place loss aversion can go a long, long way. We talk about the benefits. I mean, here are the
Yeah.
reasons you should be writing the book now. Pepper in a little bit of loss aversion. Here are the reasons you're writing it now, and you shouldn't wait, because if you wait, you're going to miss out on part of your audience, and you're not going to sell as many books. Like, well, a nice balance, and that can be very motivating.
Right. You're not going to sell as many books, or if you're starting a newsletter, a LinkedIn newsletter. I love LinkedIn and I love the LinkedIn newsletters. If you're starting that, a lot of times it's the starting, it's the getting someone to decide they're going to write the book or decide they're going to start their newsletter or just decide. And they've already been delaying because they don't know how to move forward. They don't know what the path is. So I think what you're saying is so applicable to experts who know that they maybe want to start a business and they don't want to work for their corporation forever and ever, 60 hours a week. So maybe they're going to cut back and start consulting, but they have to pull the trigger and start. It's the starting that doesn't really happen on one day. It's the delay and the procrastination that precedes the starting. And I think if we point people to that, whether it's the promise of your book, if you're writing a self help book, if you've already postponed developing better relationships, you've missed out on having good friends surround you in tough times. Now's the time that you can take the action, especially because what it feels to not have that support. That's just an example of a way that any author can speak to their book and the promise of their book without saying, buy the book. Don't, if these are your problems, you should buy the book. Because nobody, that kind of sales pitch does not feel good and it smells terrible.
Sure. What we
Yeah,
want is for someone to buy the book, but what they want is the solution to their problems. They don't want to feel lonely anymore. They want to feel, they surround themselves with good people, or they want to feel empowered, whatever it is. So we need to sell the benefit, if you will. And I know,
right.
a four-letter word, sell, and I guess that's a dirty word, but what it is, we want to focus on the benefit, because that's what people are looking for. It's like, well, what am I going to get out of this book if I pick it up and read it? What am I going to get out of this newsletter if I subscribe to it? And so if we focus on that, if we explain this is what it's going to deliver to you, this is how you're going to benefit from it, that motivates people. And once you can get somebody to say yes to you once, they're much more likely to say yes a second time, a third time, a fourth time. So they bought your book, they're much more likely to subscribe to your newsletter, or vice versa. If they subscribe to your newsletter and then you announce you've got a book coming out, they're much more likely to then buy the book. You get
Right.
that first yes, and you're much more likely to get a second yes, a third yes, a fourth yes. All about decision making shortcuts. They made the decision to say yes to you once, so when the second opportunity arises, they like to be consistent with it. And they also know that they don't have to think it through because they already made the decision. So I don't have to decide, oh, do I want to say yes to this person again? It's like, oh, yeah, I said yes to them before. It's easy enough to say yes again. I don't have to vet them. I don't have to go through that whole decision
Right.
making process. So that's like a very handy thing for us to know, that first small yes. And very often it's the easiest to get the smaller yes. You can escalate your yeses from there. So it's a
Sure.
great.
Even if it's a nonverbal yes on a website, do you want to make more money? Do you want your kids to be set up for success? This is how we need to communicate. I Even when you go to the doctor and they say you really need to get your flu shot, that's not persuasive of a nagging reminder. It's here are the benefits. Here's how you're going to protect yourself and your family from getting awful sick, like awfully sick. And those two things together. And now that we're talking about it, I think people are going to see it everywhere. It's not just when people are selling you a course or a book, or they want you to sign up for to get their emails full of goodies and cat videos. It's when you go to the doctor. These people are trying to support you, and they're also using decision making shortcuts, especially when click with your nurse practitioner and then you go, yep, she's somebody I trust. I will do anything she says, which is how I feel about my new nurse practitioner.
Yeah, you're very lucky.
She said, you need to get a colonoscopy. You're like 5 years too late. And I was like, fine. And she said, no, here's why. And I was like, okay. And you know what? It's booked now.
Good. Well,
This is not my favorite thing to even think about, but I believe her, and so this is what I'm going to be doing.
sure. I was going to say you think selling books is hard? Selling a colonoscopy appointment, that is hard, right? But
I
she had
know.
two things going for her. She had your trust, right? So she built that relationship. You trusted her. You think of her as an authority, and she's believable to you. And then she also, she said, you should book it, and here's why. And behavioral scientists have found that when you give people a reason why, they're much more likely to do what you're asking them to do. So instead of her just saying, you need to do this, you need to do this because great chance that they'll screen out anything dangerous way before it's harmful,
Yeah.
whatever the reason is. And you're like, all right, having that reason why. And behavioral scientists have actually identified the word because is what they call an automatic compliance trigger. When we see or hear it, we just start to agree even before we fully processed what comes next. It's like we hear that word because, and it kind of taps us to attention. We're like, oh, somebody's giving us a reason, it just puts us in an agreeable mind frame. And researchers have found that the reason why doesn't always have to be this ironclad bulletproof reason. Buy my book and it will make you a billionaire overnight. Well, that's an interesting reason why. If we could make that promise, we'd be selling books left and right, but it's not true. We can't make that promise, but if we said, buy my book because you'll find some full information in it. Yeah, you're going to become a billionaire overnight, but you'll get some helpful information. But just having that reason why is what's so important. A researcher named Ellen Langer, who was working at neck of the woods in Harvard University in Cambridge, and there were people lined up to use a photocopier, and she sent someone to the head of the line, and she instructed them to say, "Excuse me, can I cut in front of you?" And 60% of the time, people could cut. And then she sent someone to the head of the line, and she instructed them to say, "Excuse me, can I cut in front of you? Because I'm in a hurry and I have some copies to make." And the 60% number goes up to 94%. And we think, oh, it's because they were, hurry. But Langer repeats the experiment a third time, sends someone to the head of the line and instructs them to say, "Excuse me, can I cut in front of you because I have some copies to make?" The 94% number only dropped to 93%. Still a big lift over that baseline 60. And if you think about it, everybody standing in that line was standing in that line because they had some copies to make, right? You don't stand in line at the photocopier to get a coffee. It doesn't work that way. But behavioral scientists identify that word because is the automatic compliance trigger. We hear it and we're like, oh, we start to say yes right away. So that reason why very important. And I think that's what your nurse practitioner did, among other things, but, also told you why. And it just makes us more likely to comply.
And because is one word versus here's why you should listen to me. It's just more characters. It's just literary debris. We don't need that. You can just say because. So good. Decision shortcut. Let me ask you about the decision shortcut of text in a button on websites. I've noticed that these things have changed. Of it used to say sign up for my emails, which PS no one should be using that language. It is boring. And then the button would say submit,
Right.
which I don't even understand. And then it was I don't know, click here.
Here, exactly. Yep.
And
Yep.
then but it's changed.
Yes.
So what should we be doing now?
Yep. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. When it started, it was like submit, but I like to submit, right? You click here. Well, that's kind of obvious. So what we should be doing is the button on our, I'm sorry, the copy on our button should have a benefit. So what is it you're going to get when you submit or when you click here? I want money saving tips. I want to take my career to the next level. I want to gain a 50% discount, whatever it is. And if you can phrase it in terms of the first person, this, or show me this, or reserve my seat. If you frame it in terms of, me, as opposed to you, that's also very good. Having a benefit and having it in the first person makes a lot of sense. So am I going to sign up for the newsletter? Because I'm going to get helpful tips. You're going to buy the book because I'll learn how to surround myself with positive people. It's kind of basically focusing on the benefit of action that they're going to take. So why would they take the action? It's because that's what they're going to get.
I'm going to go through my website and change all the buttons. I think right now it's sign me up, but that's not really the benefit.
It's what you want them to do. Owner of the website, you want them to sign up. So you say, hey, sign up here, sign me up, download this. But it really should focus on the benefit. If I go to your website, what am I going to get when I click that button? Weekly tips on how to take my writing business to the next level, or whatever it turns out. It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Claim my seat in the course or whatever that might be, or the program. Actually, help me here. If you're selling or offering like a program or a masterclass or a free video series, what would people put on their buttons then so that when people take action, they turn that into the benefit?
Yeah, so it could be join people like me. It could be if the video, instead of saying watch the video about what's it going to tell them. Cover how to make more sales. If it was a video about selling, the weekly newsletter with writing tips. It's like tell me how to be a better writer, or how to improve my writing, how to take my writing to the next level. So it's instead of saying sign up for the newsletter, it's like the button would say, take my writing to the next level. And that's what I would click, because that's what the newsletter is going to help me do. If it's a newsletter about writing, for example, right?
Yes, got it. And I'm not hearing you say like one tiny word. It's I want to do this or discover that it's
Yeah, longer, like 1 or 2 words. It was said it became 2 words. We doubled it. Click here. You can do, 6, 7, 8 words, and be very effective. In fact, you can be quite effective with that. So short is always nice. Where people are. Their attention spans are shorter, or I shouldn't say they're shorter, but they're is divided, right? So,
yeah.
crisp and clear, and you were saying earlier, just kind of economy, word choice. Say what you need to say to get the point across. You're off taking 7 words and focusing on a benefit than using 2 words, click here, and it's nice and short and everyone can read it, but no one's motivated to do it. Take 3 times as many words, but prompt them, motivate them to do what you want them to do, and everyone's going to be better off. It reminds people of why they're making the decision, and it motivates them to make the decision. So, it's a
Right.
win-win.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. So what's one big change now that you're seeing recently on how people are improving engagement in their content in general? Even on podcasts like this one, we didn't list all of your professional accomplishments, but You are sharing tips that are actionable. So I want to translate that, if you would, into a change that you see people making and how they show up and get engaged.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's motivating people and that marketers, for lack of a better term, and it's the fact that we're all marketers in one way, shape, or form, whether it's as a parent, as a business professional, as a friend, but we're all marketing in one way or another. But one of the things that I see being used very often, but when it is used, it's being used very effectively, is the idea of information gap theory. And it's this notion that if there's a gap between what you know and what you want to know, you'll take action to close the gap. A great way to tee up an information gap is to use the five W's and the one H: who, what, where, when, why, and how. Because if I can offer information that you're interested in, but you don't have the answer to, you're much more likely to tune into the podcast, to sign up for the webinar, to pull in the masterclass, to buy the book, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't know, what's going to be the hottest trend in books for 2025? I don't know. I'm going to find out. I get the best pizza in the North End. I don't know. Find out. So it's teeing up those bits of information where I'm interested in the subject. I'm interested in editing in books, or I'm interested in pizza, but I don't know the answer. And so by teeing up this gap in the information, we can prompt people to take action. So it's who, what, where, when, why, how, which, best, the worst, the least, the most, certain superlatives, most effective technique to get the bank to approve your loan, most often overlooked technique that will get someone to give up their seat on the bus. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's just,
Yeah, it could be anything, but that makes it raises a question versus just providing three things you should do every time you get on a bus. If you're not already looking for that, but just you posing it is that's how magazines write headlines as well,
yeah, yeah.
because it makes you lean in.
That's exactly right. You're in there in the supermarket checkout line and you're looking at all those newspapers on the rack next to you, and those little mini headlines, those little snippets and call outs, they're designed to attract attention because they're hoping that you'll pick it up and buy it. I think Bly, who's a well-known marketing copywriter and also an author, I think he refers to them as fascinations, but you're fascinated by it. Like, oh, what is
Yeah.
that? And it
Yeah.
pulls you in. You have to find the answer. So I think information gap is in use very effectively these days. I think the other thing that we need to think about as we're trying to get people to engage with whatever it is we're offering, our books, our newsletters, our courses, is the idea of cognitive fluency. And when behavioral scientists talk about cognitive fluency, what they're talking about is the fact that people prefer things that are easier to think about and easier to understand. They prefer them, tendency to believe that they're more accurate, believable, they're more credible, and as a result, more persuasive. When people believe you, they're open to being persuaded. And they also have an easier time making a decision about things that are more cognitively fluent, things that are easier to understand. And at the end of the day, we want people to make decisions. We don't want them to walk away without signing up, without enrolling, without subscribing or buying. We want them to make a decision. So the idea of cognitive fluency really comes down to making information accessible. So instead of using the 75-cent word, use the 25-cent word. Instead of taking a paragraph to say something, say it in a sentence. Instead of writing at a PhD level, maybe a eighth grade or ninth grade level, make it easy to understand. And where I see sometimes people making a mistake is in a B2B environment where they're targeting a professional audience, a sophisticated audience, a highly educated audience, and they think, oh, I have to be speaking at that level and I have to use the right buzzwords and the jargon and the acronyms. I have to demonstrate that, that level. And research has shown that even among PhDs, the preference is for easily accessible language. Don't make me think, don't make me work too hard. Paragraph upon paragraph when you can say something in a couple of sentences. Don't use the really long words when a simple short word will do. Just make it easy for people to grasp your content, to grasp the information, and you're going to be much more likely to get the response you're looking for.
So helpful, especially when we're experts in our fields. We want to often showcase, and sometimes I come across this sometimes where someone will say, people really need to do this, and here's why. Or they don't need to know everything. Like, you don't need to explain how the brain works or why your method is so effective. We just want the method. We don't, that's for you. You can keep that, but we don't need to know how the ingredients were made. We just need to know, the person only needs to know enough to take action,
I don't have to
whatever
know
that
how a
is.
car works. I just want to be able to drive it from point A to point B. The basics. You put the gasoline in, you turn it on, you steer, you have the accelerator and the brake.
Right,
But everything else, the internal combustion engine and the rack and pinion steering, and I don't need to know. I don't have to know. I don't know, and that's
right.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that whole like however many horsepower and 0 to 60 in whatever seconds, I don't care. Is it safe?
Is it safe?
Does
Yeah.
it work? Will it go when I press the accelerator? I'm a simple woman. Just
Allison,
will
you're
it
absolutely
work?
right. I don't need to know the horse. I just need to know that I can rely on it, right? But we're buying. I'm buying a car. I need to rely on it to get, where I want to go. I need to know it's safe to put myself and my family in. Right? Yeah. So again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You don't have to tell them everything, and you don't even have to tell them all the stuff you know. You just have to focus on what it is they want, right? Looking to buy a car, they're not necessarily looking for horsepower. Some people are, but a lot of people aren't. They're looking for safety. They're looking for reliability. Maybe they're looking for a
Sometimes safety equals 0 to 60 in fewer seconds because in Massachusetts, in Boston, where I live, and I think you're here too, but on the other side of Boston, the on and off ramps are condensed. So you have no time to go from 5 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour, and your car better go, or it will feel like you're about to get run over.
yeah.
And if there are any highway designers out there, do better. Come on. But that to me is safety.
Sure. Yeah. My friend Colleen, occasionally she'll be like, you know what? If anyone ever pulled me over, I would just explain that if I were going any slower, I would be rear ended. It's like sometimes you have to be able to move at the speed of traffic. Whether or not, you happen to want to be at that speed, you have to. Like you said, if you don't pull on to that on ramp quickly enough, you'll get into an accident or you'll cause an accident. So,
Yeah.
so sometimes speed is safety. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. All right, Nancy, this is, we're wrapping up now, but I want to make sure that you get to tell people what not to do. What is a popular tactic when it comes to marketing that's no longer working? Keep us from making mistakes, please.
Okay, so we've talked about the fact that we should go on and on, and we've talked about the fact that we shouldn't use a 75-cent word when a 25-cent word will do. We've talked about the fact that only focusing on benefits isn't the best move because you want to weave in a little bit of loss aversion. I talked earlier about the fact that providing choices is smart. If you give people one option and say, this is what you should do, they're not nearly as likely to make a decision as if you give them two options and say, which do you prefer, right? One more piece of advice that people are going to find maybe a little counterintuitive, but they should embrace it or they should at least test it because it does work. You tell people what you want them to do, you ask them to do it. So you've explained, here's my book, you'll be able to gain all this, information from it. And then you say, so here's, you can buy it. And you end with, but the choice is yours. And Allison, you would say to me, wait a minute, why would you do that? Like you've just set this whole thing in motion. You've explained your product, your book, your newsletter, your masterclass. You've talked about all the great things you'll gain in it. And you've told people how to sign up or enroll or buy. And then why would you kind of do it at the end and say, but you know what, it's up to you. The choice is yours. But research shows that when you remind people that they're the ones making the decision, they are on average twice as likely to do what you're asking them to do. And it goes back to this idea of autonomy bias. We all like to feel like we're making the call, we're in charge, we're not being forced. And so when you make your marketing presentation, your sales pitch, your persuasive argument, whatever you want to call it, when you put that out there and then you end with, but the choice is yours, it's up to you, it's your call, you actually will be more likely to get people to make the decision you're hoping they'll make than if you just stop before that and say, so here's what I want you to do. Very interesting tactic, but I encourage your listeners to check it out because it works.
I am going to incorporate that in my website pages. Thank you for that. That's a gem. Okay, let's pivot for a second because I want to talk about the book that you said that you can't wait to read. Can you share with us your book, Reco?
Yes, have that I just started and one that is teed up right behind it. Is it okay to talk about each?
Sure, yes.
All right. So I have just started Audacious by Mark Schaefer. And Audacious: How Humans Win in an AI Marketing World. And Mark Shaver is awesome. He has written several books. Belonging to the Brand is one of them. I mean, he is a futurist. He's a speaker. He's an author. He's a community builder. Belonging to the Brand. He's just, but his latest one, Audacious, is all about how to stand out in today's world. So not only is there all of this competition out there, artificial intelligence, AI, is increasing it because it's making it easier for people to generate content. And there's just more and more stuff out there, and everyone is being bombarded. And you need to stand out if you want to sell your book or get people in your masterclass or get them to visit your website. You have to figure out a way to stand out. And Mark Schaefer has figured it out, and he's got it in this book. And I've started reading it, and it's fabulous. I can't wait to finish it. Teed up right behind Audacious is Veronica Romney's Identity Marketing. And I had an opportunity to meet Veronica conference. We became friends. I spoke on her podcast. She is a phenomenal marketer with such incredible experience. And she has just recently written this book. It's the reason I haven't read it yet. It literally just came out. It came out right after Mark's. It's called Identity Marketing: How to Create Loyal, Lifelong Fans and a Legendary Brand no matter what you sell or the size of your budget. So this is for all of us, for the
Wow.
people with the big budgets and the big well-known brands and the people who are just starting out and who are, drafting it. She has all the tips, tactics, and techniques that we need to use in order to create a brand for ourselves and to stand out and to create those long-term relationships that are going to fuel us and serve us well into the future. So those are two books that I'm excitedly working through. I've started Mark's, and I said right behind it is Veronica's. So I'm set for the next. It takes me a while to read, only because I'm so busy. It's not that I'm a slow reader, but finding the time to actually sit down and read usually happens on an airplane, or if I'm lucky enough in the summer to be sitting on the beach. So I'm good for the next couple of months with these two, but I'm really excited to do them because lots of great information in both.
I want to point out other one because in our preparation for this, I
Well, I
think
probably told you another one. I'm so sorry.
you did. You mentioned Ellen Langer has another book
Yes,
coming
yes,
out,
yes.
right?
Yes, Ellen Langer. Ellen, yes, I'm so sorry. I should have.
But
That's what I told you ahead of time, and I completely forgot because these two new ones just came out. So now I'm excited about these. But summer, I had the opportunity to meet Ellen Langer of the Because research from Harvard University, right? The photocopier. Because I'm in
yeah,
the Harvard, I've got some copies to make. This the same Ellen Langer. And I quote that research in my book, and I quote it when I speak at conferences. And my opportunity to meet her, I was like over the moon. But she was doing this small presentation, Truro, Massachusetts, which is way at the end of Cape Cod. And I just happened to notice, I was like, oh my God, the Ellen Langer is going to be speaking here in Truro. So I quickly bought a ticket and was able to meet her, had a picture taken with her, and then pitched her new book, which is all about just health and being healthy and the mind body connection. And she's like, it's almost a misnomer to talk about it as a mind body connection because it suggests that those are two things that are connected. But she said they're really part of the same whole. So much of what we think impacts our health. And quick to add, I'm saying that people who are sick because it's their fault. That please don't take that message from this. It's not what I am saying. Is how we think about our health and our bodies, how we think about limitations versus possibilities, all can impact our health. And I was just so psyched to hear her speak, to meet her, to buy her book, and I am partway through that book too. I haven't finished that one either, but so I'm. Thank you for reminding me about that. It is actually sitting on my bedstand here by my computer. I have these other two that just came in. So there you go. Your listeners got a threefer. Okay.
I know, a threefer. This is amazing. Just, I'm going to make sure that everybody has the links to these at bookshop.org in the show notes and all of your tips today. Now, where can people find you and follow your genius?
I can find me. I'm not sure there's all that genius to follow. Again, you're
I'm
very, very
certain there
kind.
is.
You can me. I'm on the socials, right? So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. You can also find me at my agency's website because I co-founded an advertising marketing agency called HBT Marketing. HBT stands for Human Behavior Triggers, and it's hbtmktg.com. And I would love to hear from any of your listeners, an email or connect with me online. You can find my book at Amazon. You can find it at koganpage.com. You can find it at Barnes and Noble. It's pretty much anywhere you find it.
S-
I'd love
And
to
I
hear from
really
any of
love
your
it.
listeners. Oh, thank you so much.
I
Thank you
really love
so
it.
much.
I'm such a fangirl.
And this is such high praise coming from you. Okay. So thank you very
Well,
much, Allison.
thank you.